boys and girls. I hope that you all had a really enjoyable and relaxing weekend. My assembly today is going to focus on the character strength of Prudence. But what is Prudence? Well, as well as being a beautiful girl's name, Prudence also means being careful with our choices, stopping and thinking before we act. It's about showing restraint. When you're prudent, you don't take unnecessary risks. You don't do or say things that you might regret later. Now, my story today is a story called The King Who Banned the Dark. And this king, I believe, needed to show more prudence. So I'm going to share this story with you, and perhaps you can think about how he could have been more prudent with his choices. So our story is The King Who Banned the Dark, and it's by Emily Howarth Booth. There was once a little boy who was afraid of the dark. There's nothing so unusual about that. Most children are afraid of the dark at one time or another. But this little boy was a prince, and he decided that when he became king, he would do something about the dark. He would ban it. On the first morning of his reign, the king told his advisors about his plan. "With the greatest respect, Your Majesty, if you ban the dark just like that, the people won't understand. They'll revolt against you. But if you make them think it's their idea, it might just work." And so the advisors started to spread rumours about the dark. The dark is scary. The dark is boring. You can't play in the dark. Read all about it. The dark is stealing your money. The dark is taking away your toys and sweets. The people had never really worried about the dark before, but all of a sudden it seemed to feel like a really bad thing. So they marched to the palace and demanded a ban on the dark. "Very well," said the king. "From now on, the dark will be banished from this land." And because everyone had got what they thought they wanted, everyone thought they were happy. To make sure that it would never be dark again, an enormous artificial sun was installed above the palace. Even when the real sun set, the artificial sun kept shining. All day and all night it glowed in the dark. Curtains were taken down, anti-dark hats were issued, lamps shone from every window 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The people stayed up all night celebrating, which was easy because it never got dark. But soon the people were tired of celebrating. In fact, they were just tired. With the lights on all the time, no one could sleep at all. And with no real night time, the days dragged on forever. The people had made a mistake. They realised pretty quickly that they needed the dark back. But if anyone tried to switch their lights off, the light inspectors would make them pay a fine. As the king tried to sleep under the glare of 100 light bulbs, he heard shouts from outside the palace. "Don't worry, Your Majesty," said the advisors. "What we need is a distraction." To get the people excited about the dark ban again, the advisors decided to throw a big party. Great celebration of the dark ban with fireworks, the brightest thing of all. But the people weren't as silly as the king's advisors thought they were. Whisper by whisper, they hatched their own plan. On the night of the great celebration, the king stood on the roof to watch the fireworks. But the sky was so bright that when the first firework went off, nothing could be seen at all. The king sighed. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the kingdom, a house switched off its lights. The light inspectors knocked the door. At that moment, the lights in the house next door went off, and the lights in the house next to that, and the house next to that. The same thing was happening on the street next to that, and the street next to that. The sky began to dim. The light inspectors began to panic and call for backup. All the guards of the palace rushed to help them. And that's when, with the palace unguarded, a small group of people climbed up the walls and switched off the very last switch. Artificial sun, do not switch off. The sky went dark. The king shuddered. "We must turn the sun back on, Your Majesty," shouted the advisers. "We must crush the uprising. We must punish the people." "Shh," said the king. "Look." The lights had gone out just in time for the grand finale. Instead of punishing anyone, the king lifted the ban on the dark. And now, every year on the same night, the people set off fireworks in the darkness to remind themselves of what they almost lost. The king is still sometimes a little bit scared of the dark, but he sleeps with a nightlight these days. If only he'd done that in the first place, the whole mess could have been avoided. So, how can we show prudence this week? Perhaps, children, before you start a new task in class, you can make sure that you've got all of the correct information and details. Maybe you could think about the choices that you have before you make a decision. Let's make sure together that we all develop our prudence character strength this week, because we don't want to make any silly decisions like banning the dark now, do we? Have a great week, everyone.